Okay, it's day 339, and if you've been watching Twitter, my Truth Leaks thing, you've seen a raging document war between Brandy Blonde and I. I did not intend to do that, but if challenged, I have to produce my evidence, and I did. And I'm always subject to correction here, but the choice really here is aspiring in Congress and about one illegal login per hour, and you don't know what is going and being transferred in that illegal login. So that illegal login could be the flight information of a plane leaving here from where I am, Andrews Air Force Base. It could be a helicopter mission in Yemen. It could be a helicopter mission in Afghanistan. I learned that directly from a 21-year veteran of both Iraq and Afghanistan contacts last night, and he spent a lot of time here in the Washington area in the intelligence business. I heard that directly from a 21-year veteran. I spoke to a person who was wounded, or he was in direct command of somebody who was wounded. We tried to find him last night. So anyway, it just reminds you that this secret information is critical, and having foreign actors and foreign intelligence services in our information systems is not a good idea, and it's of the highest risk. Every pilot, every soldier, every sailor is someone's child, okay? I just would like everybody to remember that the costs here are so high. So I'm just following the information, I'm just following the chain of evidence, all right? That's all I'm trying to do here. These people that I am trying to get a hold of in a public way, if I get hit by a bus, it all goes away. Gary, Webb, and Aaron Schwartz communicated privately, and there's no record of their communications. So that's why I'm communicating publicly. If I get hit by a bus, everyone knows what I was doing. So sorry about that. So anyway, this is the idea here. This is the address that came forward, 4309 Pembroke. 4309 Pembroke, as you can see, it's only a mile away. As the crow flies, it's less than a mile away, about a half a mile away from the sprayer home. Now this address also looks like the mother of Jaquia. The mother of Jaquia is potentially has been at this address as well as that address. All right, so now if her mother's here and the daughter's there, that certainly would be understandable. But if the mother rented from both of these locations, all right, then she needs to know about her daughter over at this location. So I'm just trying to reach out to her. It is a person of interest, is all I can say. Nothing wrong here, just an innocent person. Her first name's Lisa. You can go on to Twitter and see all the documentation that I have that supports this if you want. But I'm just going to back out here and zoom out a little bit and see the access. I talked about yesterday the Defense Intelligence Agency and also the U.S. Coast Guard World Headquarters going right up this road, this Telegraph Road. This is the old Telegraph Road that used to go down to New Orleans. McDuff told me, so I'm going to just use McDuff and McDuff's son as one entity. So that used to go down to New Orleans. And this is TISCOM, this is the C4, this is the command center, the nerve center of the Coast Guard. If satellite images are coming down here, I would assume that the Navy satellite images have to be shared with the Coast Guard at the command center to make decisions on threats. I would assume that the positions of ships around the world, the global navigation system, would have to be shared. Now, are those text codes that came out of the Freytag, famous Freytag codes, are those nav text, nav area, ship warning type distress texts? Are they old telex texts? I don't know, but I believe those texts are going to be related to some type of Coast Guard information. So that's just for today. Now, I've said before, this Northern Virginia Community College, I believe, is a recruiting hotbed. Remember, this is all in Fairfax County. It's just outside of the city limits of Alexandria, yet it falls into an area that the county, Fairfax County, I believe, the city provides jurisdiction here for the police force. That makes this Freytag's hotspot. He owns this. This is his jurisdiction. I believe also this area as well. So anything that goes on here, any kind of sting operation and so forth, if I was to call the police or have police investigate, Freitag's is the guy you call if he's on JTTF. A very common thing is to retire an officer young, and then he just goes into a secret role or covert role as a JTTF officer. I believe he is a JTTF officer. If he's not, we'll find out. But again, the only reason I'm bringing this forward is because it's involved in aspiring in Congress, and there's one illegal login per hour. This is not law enforcement in entrapment. This is not bringing in a foreign power using the liaison loophole to do these safe houses and setup houses, brownstone operations, is not, in my opinion, law enforcement, okay? It does not deserve the cloak of state secrets. If, for instance, you just up this river, up the West Potomac here, you've got the George Bush Intelligence Center, which is the old, what they used to call Langley. If you have, and again, in Fairfax County, if you have an agreement with different local law enforcement to be your dark, arts provider here, and you bring your folks here around the world, and especially contractors in the United States, the ones that aren't playing ball with you, if you bring them here under false circumstances, and then they meet their end here, and then you take their identity and you put different surrogates in to take their identity. Sound familiar? Sound like fake employees in Congress? That is not good law enforcement. That is covert operations that are not approved by the president. They're not approved. Those liaison operations, although there is a loophole, immediately go around the Constitution, and the CIA was never, ever chartered to do that. If I'm going to pick up soldiers here that have some kind of mental issue or so forth, battle weary, whatever, ADHD soldiers, I don't know what ADH Transportation Services is, I'm just using it as an example, and I'm going to pick them up over here at the Springfield Town Center at some kind of social mixer here or whatever, and because they're talkers or whatever, these are the Fort Hood type talkers, I don't know what they're using this for. I do know there is a service, an undertaker type service in the family, and the CIA has contracted around the world with these undertakers that can have crematoriums that can get rid of a body in an hour. So I know this is a practice, a common practice of the CIA. So whenever I see a JTTF officer that has a family background in the undertaking business with, the Mason thing is not a big, I don't believe any of the Mason crap, other than the fact that it is a dark secret circle that intelligence agencies and law enforcement agencies can meet with in secret. The reason why secret societies are secret is because what they're doing is illegal. I don't care what you call it, Mason or whatever you want to call it, Illuminati, all that's bull. Basically, it's meeting in secret because it is illegal. That's why. So anyway, I'm not good with this, using safe houses and so forth to do sting operations and do these types of covert operations, especially when they result in death. Okay, the uranium salesman, I don't know what his circumstances are and why he died, Janiak. I'm trying to get a hold of Doris Janiak right now. Don't know why the fake name of Kenneth Mormon was created. If it was me and I wanted to sell radioactive waste, get paid twice for it, basically, from Hanford Nuclear Facility or Y-12 and Oak Ridge Lab, I would get rid of this guy here, and I'd create a fake person to put in his place, and then I'd start buying from my compromised person at those two locations to bring it here to get paid for it. I'd resell it to FDA, I could resell it for research, I could resell it to CDC, Human Resources, or especially CDC, any of the agencies involved in research, I could sell it. And I could even take checks, Social Security checks and so forth after the guy retired on paper. All sorts of things could be coming out of this case. So I just want to lay this out now to say this is not something that doesn't happen every day in foreign countries. It does. It's happening here now as well. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I think this is an unhealthy practice. It's probably been going on as long as Imran Awan has been here. And because it's Northern Virginia, it's in Freitag's area. So this is something I have to drill down on, especially when I see maybe Jaquaya was at both of these locations now, and both of them are rented by Imran Awan. I would like to interview Jaquaya. I'd like to interview Lisa as well. And I won't say the last name, but you can go to Twitter for that if you want to see all the documentation that makes all these associations.